I'm on a different motorcycle today, and it's because with the weather starting to heat up to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, this motorcycle is best suited for the hotter climate than the sport bike I was on previously. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about a follow-up to my last video about death. As fate would have it, shortly after uploading that video, I got news of the child of a family friend who had all been at my place celebrating several graduations I had of my children. He passed away over the weekend. Just a high school sophomore. And I'm not going to get into the details of that, but it made me think that my last video was more geared towards when the old pass away, when the elderly pass away. And this last weekend, I attended the funeral as well as the burial. I was reminded that death doesn't discriminate. Young, old, middle age, it really doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care where you are in life, how much money you have, what your priorities are. It doesn't care. Death cometh when it cometh. And what I wanted to point it out, this is a shout out to my Gen Z, my Zoomers, more than anything else, is that I was, first of all, impressed by the turnout for both the funeral and the burial, but the surprisingly large number of his age mates. Um, I know he played sports, so that accounted for some, but not the number of young men and women I saw there of his cohort. And I'm glad. I'm glad because it speaks to the community he was a part of. And it was comforting, I think, for a lot of the adults there, both the funeral, but especially the burial, that there was so many young people who didn't necessarily understand everything that was going on, but the reality wasn't that complicated. Someone that was once amongst them, same age group as themselves, is now gone. Now, he was from a Muslim community, and for those of you who may or may not know, Nigeria is about 50% Muslim, 50% Christian, give or take. But anyway, the body was brought out in front of the congregation, both at the funeral as well as during the burial, the interment. So it wasn't something covered by a casket or anything. He did have a shroud over him, but the point being, these young people could see with their own two eyes someone that was there with them yesterday or last week or whatever they last saw him, and there he was being buried. And so, oddly enough, the morning before I attended the funeral and the burial at the mosque, that's where the funeral was, I dropped one of my sons off at a church for his departure to do his work. So, and they were same age as my son. And so it really hit home to see a young man that was sitting in my backyard, and almost a week later, to the hour, I'm at his burial. So it really makes you think. And as I said in my last video, life is short and not to take it for granted. But I believe, especially for uh, the youngest generations, don't think because you're young, it can't happen to you.